can't think off the top of my head. But no, seriously, you could be a great team, but you need a little luck. You need the ball to bounce your way sometimes. A certain player on the opposing team get in foul trouble.
Well, which are all the teams that should have made the NBA playoffs but fell short? So, we know you might have a few guesses. You all might be wondering what went wrong for these teams. Now, let's talk about some of the teams we've had high hopes for lately, only to see them stumble hard. We are talking about the Pelicans, the Bucks, and to some extent the Cleveland Cavaliers. They all had rough weekends. So if we consider the recent efforts, which are these three teams, seems the least serious to you. It's a tough competition, with a lot of unserious basketball being played at this point in the season. But it's really hard to ignore the Bucks. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, including 3 straight to the Wizards, Raptors, and even the Pistons. It's almost like they're begging for some attention, which is pretty rare in the NBA. Despite their recent struggles, we still believe the Bucks are better positioned for playoff success compared to teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell hasn't quite regained his form since returning from his knee injury. And the Cavaliers have been inconsistent overall. Even after attempting to rest players and solidify their lineup, they haven't shown consistent chemistry this season. With time running out, it's difficult to have confidence in the Cavaliers' ability to make a deep playoff run. When considering which team is least likely to advance through multiple playoff rounds, my vote goes to the Pelicans. Take, for instance, their recent game against the Spurs. Joel Myers, the local broadcast commentator in New Orleans, emphasized the importance of winning these types of crucial games. The Pelicans were facing a team they typically should beat, and the stakes were high. In contrast, if the Bucks were to lose a couple of games, it might even work in their favor by potentially securing an easier matchup in the first round. However, for the Pelicans, the situation feels more urgent. They simply haven't demonstrated the consistency or resilience needed to make a deep playoff run. Even after putting so much effort to secure the 6th seed and avoid the play-in tournament, the Pelicans find themselves in a precarious position after losing 4 consecutive games. Now, we all can understand that Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram were absent on Friday and facing Victor Oladipo, who's been performing exceptionally well late in the season, didn't help matters. However, their current placement in the 7th spot adds another layer of uncertainty. Given the high stakes and the context surrounding their recent performances, it's clear that the Pelicans are facing some significant challenges. Many were disappointed with how the Pelicans had been performing lately. Also, the majority were overly confident about them. However, we find their solution the most understandable. Yes, Ingram's absence is a factor, but we shouldn't rely on it as an excuse for a team as deep as the Pelicans. They have a talented roster with plenty of capable players who should be able to step up in these circumstances. However, when you factor in the tough schedule, the absence of one of their key players, and the possibility that they may have been overperforming earlier in the season, it paints a pretty clear picture of their recent struggles. They were initially seen as a 4th or 5th ranked team in the Western Conference, but now they're inching closer to the 7th spot, bringing them back down to earth. It all seems to add up for them, and perhaps this is just their reality. Without Brandon Ingram, it's clear that they're not the same team. Deep down, we had a feeling we shouldn't put too much trust in them. We've been saying all year, this team is unreliable. Initially pegged as a 4th or 5th seed in the Western Conference, the Pelicans now find themselves inching closer to the 7th spot. It all seems to align for them, and perhaps this is simply their true identity. Regardless of our earlier confidence, it's becoming clear that this is who they are, especially without Brandon Ingram. Deep down, even we had a feeling we shouldn't put too much trust in them. Fans have been skeptical all year, And yet, against our better decision, we jumped on the Pelican bandwagon. We were certainly mistaken, no doubt about it. Now, there is no denying, we think many would agree, that we've been complete fools, especially when the Pelicans managed to fool us time and time again. But we have a question about the Bucks. What if Doc Rivers went on a media blackout, as we suggested weeks ago around the trade deadline? If he stopped making public statements, would it improve the situation? Optically, it might help, as we wouldn't have him publicly criticizing the trainers and others trying to cover up the mess in Milwaukee. The truth is, there's a lot of noise surrounding the Bucks right now, and these losses are just terrible, regardless of who's missing from the lineup. We also know that Giannis and Dame have been absent for some of those games. That's just the reality of the NBA season. However, when facing teams of this caliber, you should still be able to secure wins. Yet, as we analyze both conferences, it's hard to pinpoint another team in the East that's a clear favorite to make it to the conference finals. The Celtics and Nuggets inspire confidence, but everyone else seems to have major question marks. Whether they're struggling on the court, dealing with roster absences, or, like the Thunder, simply navigating the challenges of youth and inexperience, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding these teams. We're in a phase where no team has emerged as a clear contender. There are no established favorites, aside from the Celtics and the Nuggets, who seem poised to reach the conference finals. Despite this, the Bucks are falling short, prompting Doc Rivers to vent his frustrations in post-game sessions. Their losses are baffling, yet they still have a good chance of making it to the conference finals. Who's the last beacon of hope in the Eastern Conference that could challenge the Boston Celtics? Who are you picturing? We think it might just be the Sixers. You should have totally seen Joel Embiid in action. We're recording this on a Sunday afternoon, so we haven't witnessed the outcome of their games against Victor Oladipo and the Miami Heat just yet. But Embiid in his prime is a player beyond our expectation. It's been an interesting time for us all in terms of viewing, but we must say, Embiid looks healthy enough to at least put this team on par with the others we've been discussing, especially when Embiid and Maxey are on the court together. In the first game for Embiid, Maxey was absent, which put a lot of pressure on Joel, although the rest of the Sixers gave it their all. However, having both of these guys on the floor makes a huge difference in the lineup's composition. The starting lineup, which has been one of the best all season, really benefits from their presence. Additionally, having another scorer like Maxey to stagger throughout the games gives Nick Nurse a lot to work with. They're going to be good. They're gonna pose a significant challenge. They're the wild card that makes me a bit cautious if we were the Bucks, thinking that maybe the third seed isn't so bad after all, or even aiming for a favorable matchup at the second seed. However, facing a team in the 2 to 3 range means dealing with opponents of Sixers caliber, if not the Heat's, and that's not a situation you want to find yourself in. Despite DeAnthony Melton's absence, Kyle Lowry is a game changer who's capable of disrupting playoff games. He's known for his knack of drawing charges and shifting the momentum unexpectedly. And then there's Embiid, who's evolved into a more versatile player, capable of playing like a jump shooter when needed. The guard is effortlessly sinking off the dribble jumpers to seal a Game 5 victory. It's plausible, yet skepticism may arise regarding the guard's health and reliability in the playoffs, even when deemed fit. This adds another layer of uncertainty, especially with new concerns surrounding Joel. However, when assessing confidence in these teams, the Sixers stand out. Their reliability is unquestionable, unlike some others. It's easier to have faith in the Sixers, unlike ... The current state of the Knicks, given their injuries, doesn't instill as much confidence as the Cavs. While getting OG Anunoby back is a positive, the absence of Randle remains a significant setback. They're in a desperate need for someone who can handle offense, shots, and creation like Randle did, alleviating the pressure on Jalen Brunson. It's a tall order for Brunson to lead the team through a playoff series, especially in a 4-5 seed matchup. Looking across the Eastern Conference standings, many teams are young, battered by injuries, and have much to prove. Even Joel Embiid and the Sixers are not exempt from scrutiny, despite their strong season. With just 1 and 2 spots separating the Celtics and the Bucks, the competition is intense and frankly absurd. So which is your favorite team? Do let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.